Ever wondered how a simple fitness tracker could solve a mystery that stumped investigators for 7 long years? Imagine a cold case that seemed destined to remain unsolved, a crime shrouded in shadows and unanswered questions. But then, in a twist no one saw coming, a FitBit tracker provided the key to unlock the truth. Stay with us as we unfold the chilling story of how technology turned detective, piecing together the puzzle that had left even the most seasoned investigators scratching their heads. You won't want to miss a single detail of this incredible journey from confusion to clarity, as we reveal how a seemingly ordinary gadget cracked a case wide open. The background of the cold case begins with the victim, a 31-year-old woman named Sarah Johnson. Sarah was a dedicated nurse, known in her community for her kindness and commitment to helping others. She lived alone in a modest home on the outskirts of the city, a place she had made her sanctuary. One fateful evening, Sarah did not show up for her shift at the hospital. Concerned colleagues reported her missing, leading police to her home. There, they discovered a scene that would haunt the investigators for years to come. Sarah's lifeless body was found in her living room, the room in disarray as if a struggle had taken place. The time of death was estimated around late evening, but no clear signs pointed to the cause. Initial investigations were thorough. Detectives interviewed friends, family, and neighbors. They scoured the house for clues, tirelessly working to piece together what had happened. However, all leads eventually dried up. There were no witnesses, no fingerprints, no clear motive. The case lacked the crucial evidence needed to charge anyone. With no progress and limited resources, it eventually became a cold case, filed away with other unsolved mysteries. Despite the passage of time, Sarah's family never gave up hope, holding on to the belief that someday, somehow, the truth would emerge. Little did they know, the key to solving Sarah's murder lay in an unexpected place. A small, seemingly insignificant device that recorded her final moments and movements. The crime scene was a chilling tableau of mystery and confusion. Sarah's modest living room, which once radiated warmth and tranquility, now bore the chaotic aftermath of a violent struggle. The room was a mess, furniture overturned, and personal items scattered across the floor. Picture frames lay shattered, their glass fragments catching the dim light filtering through the curtains, creating an eerie ambience. The investigators noted several key pieces of evidence that seemed to hint at what transpired that fateful night. Firstly, the front door showed no signs of forced entry, suggesting that Sarah may have known her attacker, or that the person had found another way in. A closer inspection revealed a small smear of blood on the side table, near the living room entrance, a detail that immediately caught the detective's attention. Further into the room, a broken vase lay in pieces on the carpet, its once vibrant flowers now wilted and trampled. Near Sarah's body, they found a cell phone, its screen cracked, as if it had fallen during the struggle. Interestingly, the phone's call history showed no recent calls that might have indicated an emergency or a visitor. The most puzzling clue was Sarah's FitBit, still on her wrist, flashing with unread notifications. This device, which she wore religiously, tracked her every step, heart rate, and even her sleep patterns. Though initially overlooked, it would later become the linchpin in solving the case. Additionally, the crime scene bore no clear signs of a break-in or robbery. Sarah's wallet, jewelry, and other valuables were untouched, prompting detectives to believe that theft was not a motive. As they meticulously documented the scene, a single hair, not belonging to Sarah, was found clinging to the back of the couch. This hair would later be sent for DNA analysis, though it did not match anyone in her immediate circle. The living room windows were locked from the inside, ruling out the possibility of a stealthy escape through them. With these observations in hand, the authorities faced an enigmatic puzzle. Each clue uncovered seemed to raise more questions than answers, deepening the mystery of Sarah's untimely death. The investigators couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something crucial, something that was right in front of them. Little did they know, the seemingly ordinary device on Sarah's wrist contained a silent witness to the events of that night, waiting to reveal its secrets. The first suspect on the investigators' list was Sarah's ex-boyfriend, Michael. Their breakup had been tumultuous, with friends recalling heated arguments and lingering resentment. Michael had a volatile temper, and it wasn't hard to imagine him lashing out in a fit of rage. He was brought in for questioning, and his alibi was checked, a night out with his friends. However, his friends' testimonies seemed rehearsed, raising suspicion. But after thorough investigation, phone records confirmed Michael's location far from Sarah's home that night, ruling him out as a suspect. Next, the detectives turned their attention to a neighbor, Mr. Peterson, who had a history of petty theft and a reputation for being nosy. He lived alone and often observed the comings and goings in the neighborhood, sometimes too closely for comfort. When questioned, Mr. Peterson was evasive about his whereabouts on the night of Sarah's death. However, his fingerprints were not found at the scene, and his DNA did not match the hair discovered on the couch. Besides, there were no signs of forced entry, making it less likely he was involved. Another lead involved a co-worker, Jessica, who had a well-known rivalry with Sarah over a recent promotion. Their colleagues described constant bickering and tension between the two. Jessica's alibi was that she was home alone, which initially did not hold much weight. However, a neighbor's security camera footage showed her entering her apartment building around the time of Sarah's estimated death and not leaving until morning, corroborating her story. As the weeks turned into months, each lead the investigators followed seemed to hit a dead end. Friends and family members were grilled, their histories combed through with a fine tooth comb, yet nothing substantive emerged. Without any concrete evidence pointing in a definitive direction, the case stagnated. The lack of forced entry made it plausible that Sarah knew her attacker, but with no clear suspects fitting that mold, the investigation grew colder. Every promising lead fizzled out, and the authorities were left with nothing but questions. Frustration mounted as they retraced their steps, hoping to uncover something they had missed. It wasn't until years later, when a new detective with fresh eyes reviewed the case, that the significance of Sarah's FitBit was fully realized. Technological advances have always played a pivotal role in the evolution of crime solving. From the early days of fingerprinting to the advent of DNA analysis, each leap forward has brought us closer to uncovering the truth in even the most perplexing cases. The integration of technology into everyday life has provided detectives with unprecedented tools at their disposal. One such tool, which has revolutionized modern investigations, is the FitBit tracker. This seemingly mundane device, designed to monitor physical activity and health metrics, holds a wealth of information that can be crucial in solving crimes. FitBit's ability to track steps, heart rate, and even sleep patterns offers a digital footprint of a person's daily life. This data can provide investigators with a timeline of events down to the exact second. In the case of Sarah Johnson, it was her FitBit that silently recorded the final moments of her life, transforming from a fitness accessory to a key witness. Unlike traditional evidence, digital data is impartial and cannot be tampered with easily. It offers a precise, unbiased account of what happened, making it an invaluable asset in the pursuit of justice. The introduction of smart devices into crime solving has opened new avenues for detectives to explore, cracking cases that once seemed insurmountable. The ability to analyze data from such devices means that even the most minute detail can become the linchpin in an investigation. This was precisely what happened with Sarah's case. Her Fitbit was more than just a tracker. It was a silent observer that chronicled her every move on that fateful night. As law enforcement increasingly relies on technology to solve crimes, the Fitbit has become an unexpected hero in the realm of justice. Its role in Sarah Johnson's case is a testament to how far we have come in utilizing technology to unveil the truth. As we delve deeper into this story, you'll see how the data from Sarah's Fitbit provided the breakthrough needed to solve a 7-year-old mystery, piecing together a puzzle that everyone else had given up on. The Fitbit tracker era marks a significant shift in how we approach fitness and personal health. Around the early 2010s, wearable technology began to skyrocket in popularity, with Fitbit leading the charge. These sleek, wrist-worn devices promised not only to track our steps, but to revolutionize our understanding of daily activity, fitness, and overall well-being. By simply wearing a Fitbit, users could monitor their heart rate, count the number of steps taken, track their sleep patterns, and even measure the calories burned throughout the day. The core function of these devices revolves around an array of sensors. For instance, an accelerometer detects movement, allowing the Fitbit to count steps and measure the intensity of physical activities. Another critical component is the optical heart rate monitor, which uses light sensors to measure your pulse. Combined with advanced algorithms, these sensors offer real-time feedback on your daily activities and health metrics. Additionally, Fitbit devices sync wirelessly with smartphones and computers, providing users with detailed reports and insights. These insights help users set and achieve fitness goals, gain a better understanding of their sleep quality, and maintain a more active lifestyle. As Fitbit continued to innovate, features like GPS tracking, guided breathing sessions, and even health coaching were introduced, further cementing its place in the wellness industry. The appeal of these devices lies in their ability to seamlessly integrate into our lives, offering a constant companion that promotes healthier habits. But beyond personal health benefits, the wealth of data generated by Fitbits opened new possibilities in other fields, including crime solving. The accuracy and reliability of this data meant it could serve as an unbiased eyewitness, recording events with precision that human memory might fail to recall. As wearable technology became more advanced, its role expanded, providing invaluable contributions to solving mysterious cases like Sarah Johnson's. Her Fitbit wasn't just a tool for tracking her fitness. It became a silent observer and an unwitting detective. The rise of Fitbit and similar devices has ushered in an era where technology not only enhances our personal lives, but also aids in the pursuit of truth and justice. The discovery of the Fitbit evidence occurred quite serendipitously. It was during a routine review of the cold case files by Detective Lisa Monroe, a tech-savvy investigator newly assigned to the precinct, that the significance of the Fitbit came into focus. Detective Monroe had a keen interest in how modern technology could aid in solving crimes. As she meticulously sifted through the mountain of evidence, she came across Sarah Johnson's case file. Among the list of items found on the crime scene, the mention of a Fitbit caught her eye. To many, this device might have seemed inconsequential, just another gadget in a tech-driven world. But to Monroe, it represented a potential goldmine of data. She immediately realized that the Fitbit could contain crucial information about Sarah's final moments, information that had been overlooked in the initial investigation. Excited by the prospect, Monroe reached out to the Fitbit company, requesting access to Sarah's activity data from the night of her murder. The company was cooperative, understanding the gravity of the situation, and within days, they provided the data. Detective Monroe's tech background proved invaluable as she began to analyze the information. What she discovered was nothing short of astounding. The Fitbit had recorded Sarah's heart rate, steps, and movements with unerring accuracy right up until the moment of her death. The data revealed a spike in Sarah's heart rate around the estimated time of death, aligning with what would be expected during a physical altercation. It then showed a sharp decline, consistent with the heart stopping abruptly. Additionally, the activity log indicated that Sarah had been relatively inactive before the sudden increase in movement, suggesting she had been at home, possibly relaxing. Detective Monroe realized she had stumbled upon a silent witness that had recorded the entire sequence of events leading up to Sarah's death. This breakthrough was revolutionary. The Fitbit data provided a precise timeline, narrowing down the window of the crime and giving investigators a clearer picture of what transpired that night. Monroe's discovery breathed new life into the cold case, turning a dead-end investigation into a promising lead. This piece of evidence would prove instrumental in identifying suspects and establishing a concrete timeline, ultimately paving the way for solving the mystery that had haunted Sarah's family and the community for years. Analyzing the Fitbit data marked a pivotal moment in the investigation. Detective Monroe and her team dove deep into the information extracted from Sarah Johnson's Fitbit, carefully scrutinizing every metric recorded by the device. They began by examining Sarah's heart rate data, which provided a continuous record of her pulse throughout the day. They noted that Sarah's heart rate was relatively stable during the early part of the evening, consistent with someone who was likely winding down for the night. However, a sudden and significant spike in her heart rate occurred around the estimated time of her death, suggesting a period of intense physical activity or stress. This spike was followed by a sharp drop, indicating the moment her heart stopped, which helped narrow down the exact time of her murder. Next, they analyzed the step count data. The Fitbit had recorded Sarah's movements, counting each step she took that evening. Investigators could see her step count was low during the hours leading up to her death, but there was a dramatic increase in activity right before the spike in heart rate. This suggested Sarah was involved in a struggle, moving around the room as she fought off her attacker. By correlating the step data with the heart rate information, detectives pieced together a detailed sequence of events, from Sarah's initial encounter with her assailant to the tragic end. The Fitbit also tracked Sarah's sleep patterns. Although not directly linked to the moment of her death, This data provided additional context about her state of mind and overall health in the days leading up to the crime. Investigators noted that Sarah had experienced restless nights recently, which could indicate stress or anxiety, possibly related to someone who was watching her or planning the attack. To further substantiate their findings, the team looked at the FitBit's GPS data. Although Sarah's model did not include GPS tracking, it did sync with her phone, which recorded her location history. This information confirmed that Sarah had been at home all evening, ruling out the possibility that she had left and encountered danger elsewhere. The meticulous analysis of the FitBit data offered an unparalleled level of detail, allowing detectives to reconstruct the night of Sarah's murder with a level of precision that traditional methods could not achieve. This breakthrough not only provided critical insights, but also underscored the immense potential of integrating technology into criminal investigations. With this newfound clarity, the investigators now had a solid timeline and valuable evidence that propelled the case forward, reigniting the quest for justice for Sarah Johnson. Connecting the dots, the data from the FitBit revealed new clues that transformed the investigation. The heart rate spike at the precise time of Sarah's death suggested a struggle, while the earlier period of low activity aligned with someone relaxing at home. This contradicted initial theories that Sarah might have let her attacker in willingly, indicating a sudden confrontation instead. The sudden increase in step count just before the heart rate surge confirmed a physical altercation, mapping a probable path of movement as she attempted to evade the attacker. This sequence of steps traversed from the living room to the narrow hallway adjoining her bedroom, shedding light on the desperate struggle she faced. Analyzing the heart rate data further uncovered a peculiar pattern. Shortly before the fatal struggle, Sarah's heart rate had shown a brief, slight elevation, which then normalized. This subtle fluctuation hinted at a moment of alarm or awareness, potentially when she first sensed someone's presence or heard an unusual sound. This insight suggested that Sarah might have initially been startled, then tried to return to her activities, only for the situation to escalate abruptly. The combination of the heart rate and step count data pinpointed a critical window of time, drawing a clearer picture of the attacker's movements. As Sarah's FitBit recorded her final steps, a simultaneous analysis of any overlapping activity across other connected devices in the vicinity was conducted. This cross-referencing unveiled a shocking discovery: an unidentified, brief interference in the home's Wi-Fi signal during the crucial moments. This anomaly suggested the possibility of the attacker using a jammer or some device to interfere with electronic signals momentarily. The Fitbit's synchronization with her phone also provided key timestamps, aligning the sequence of events with potential digital footprints left behind by the perpetrator. The slight increase in Sarah's heart rate prior to the attack directly correlated with a message notification received on her phone. Detectives theorized that the notification might have distracted Sarah momentarily, unknowingly giving the attacker an advantage. The absence of outgoing communication attempts disrupted the initial theory of her calling for help, pushing investigators to consider the idea that the attacker had prevented her from reaching her phone in time. By meticulously charting the activity logs and correlating them with the heart rate spikes, the detectives identified a pivotal moment when Sarah's movements stopped abruptly. This specific second preserved within the FitBit data, marked the tragic end of her resistance. Reconstructing the timeline against physical evidence from the crime scene, such as the location of the broken vase and the smear of blood, solidified the narrative of Sarah's courageous struggle. The meticulous analysis of the FitBit data didn't just piece together Sarah's final moments, it also challenged existing alibis. With the concrete timeline established, detectives revisited the accounts of individuals in Sarah's life. Discrepancies began to emerge when the exact timing of the struggle, confirmed through FitBit data, contradicted certain alibis that had previously held up under scrutiny. This newfound clarity unveiled inconsistencies in accounts provided by Sarah's acquaintances, driving the investigation towards reconsidering previously cleared suspects. This technological revelation turned Sarah's FitBit from a personal fitness device into an impartial observer, revealing a wealth of information that traditional methods had missed. Through these data-driven insights, the investigators were able to reconstruct Sarah's final hours with unprecedented accuracy, leading them closer to unveiling the truth behind the night that ended her life. The decision to reopen the cold case was driven by the compelling new evidence extracted from Sarah Johnson's FitBit. Detective Monroe's analysis had provided a detailed timeline and unprecedented insights into Sarah's final moments, something traditional investigative techniques had failed to achieve. This technological breakthrough breathed new life into an investigation that had long been stagnant. The data from the FitBit was not only precise, but also impartial, offering a digital witness that captured the critical events leading to Sarah's tragic death. This renewed the hopes of Sarah's family and the investigative team. Each piece of data, meticulously pieced together, formed a coherent narrative that transformed the case from a perplexing mystery into a solvable puzzle. The determination to pursue justice for Sarah was revitalized as the detectives prepared to re-examine old leads with this fresh, concrete evidence in hand. The authorities recognized that the FitBit data provided a crucial timeline that could challenge alibis and potentially uncover inconsistencies in previous testimonies. This realization was pivotal, as the data not only offered a new perspective, but also a second chance to solve a case that had haunted the community for years. The renewed focus and technological advancement meant that Sarah's final moments were not just remembered, but recorded with unerring accuracy, guiding the detectives towards the truth they had been seeking all along. This decision to reopen the case was met with a mixture of excitement and cautious optimism, as it represented a significant step forward in the pursuit of justice, promising to finally bring closure to a mystery that had left everyone in despair. The FitBit evidence led to the identification of new suspects. Firstly, Detective Monroe and her team meticulously re-examined the list of people in Sarah's life, cross-referencing the FitBit timeline with known whereabouts. One glaring inconsistency emerged with Sarah's co-worker, Rachel, who had previously claimed to be out of town the night of the murder. However, data from Sarah's FitBit indicated brief but consistent heart rate spikes during their work shifts, which coincided with documented conflicts between the two. This correlation prompted investigators to dig deeper into Rachel's alibi. They obtained travel records and surveillance footage that contradicted her initial statement, placing her back in the city on the night of the crime. Confronted with the inconsistency, Rachel became evasive, further raising suspicion. Next, authorities turned their attention to a delivery driver who had frequently serviced Sarah's neighborhood. The Fitbit timeline showed a period of peculiar heart rate elevations around the delivery times, suggesting an unsettling pattern. Investigators retrieved delivery logs and matched them with Sarah's Fitbit data, uncovering that the driver, Mark, had a history of complaints from customers feeling uneasy around him. To confirm their suspicions, detectives analyzed GPS data from Mark's delivery vehicle, which surprisingly indicated a deviation from his route on the night of the murder, placing him near Sarah's home at the crucial time. This evidence was bolstered by witness statements from neighbors who had seen an unfamiliar vehicle parked nearby. Another lead surfaced when cross-referencing digital footprints tied to the Fitbit and Sarah's phone. The data pointed to a series of unexplained interactions with a tech-savvy acquaintance named Todd, who had shown an unusual interest in wearable technology. Detectives discovered that Todd had previously assisted Sarah in setting up her Fitbit, gaining access to her devices. This access could have allowed him to manipulate or monitor her data. When questioned, Todd's behavior was suspiciously defensive, his explanations inconsistent with the digital evidence. Detectives further analyzed communication logs, finding messages between Todd and Sarah that hinted at an unreciprocated infatuation, providing a potential motive. Armed with these leads, the authorities expanded the scope of their investigation. They conducted more in-depth interviews, scrutinized alibis, and utilized advanced forensic techniques to piece together a clearer picture. Surveillance footage, witness testimonies, and digital footprints were all re-evaluated in the context of the Fitbit data. This comprehensive approach uncovered more inconsistencies and potential motives, tightening the net around the new suspects. Each revelation brought detectives closer to unraveling the truth, highlighting the crucial role of modern technology in breathing new life into a case that had seemed insurmountable. The Fitbit had not just recorded Sarah's final moments, but had also illuminated a path to justice by identifying those who had escaped suspicion for years. The interrogations of the newly identified suspects began with Rachel, Sarah's co-worker. Detective Monroe and her team decided to confront Rachel with the irrefutable evidence they had gathered. They meticulously laid out the inconsistencies in her alibi and the Fitbit data that correlated with her frequent conflicts with Sarah. Initially, Rachel tried to maintain her story, insisting she was out of town on the night of the murder. However, as the detectives presented travel records and surveillance footage that placed her in the city, Rachel's facade began to crack. Faced with undeniable proof, she eventually admitted she had lied about her whereabouts, but continued to deny any involvement in the murder. The pressure mounted as the detectives drilled deeper, suggesting that her animosity towards Sarah over their work conflicts could have escalated into violence. Next, the team turned their attention to Mark, the delivery driver. Mark was brought in for questioning about his unusual delivery route deviations and his presence near Sarah's home on the night of her death. The detectives began by presenting the GPS data from his vehicle, showing the unexpected stop at Sarah's address. Mark initially claimed it was a routine delivery, but under scrutiny, his story began to falter. When confronted with neighbor testimonies that placed him at the scene, Mark's demeanor shifted from confident to defensive. He stumbled over his explanations, and his unease grew palpable. The detectives pressed on, hinting at the possibility of an accidental encounter that turned deadly. Under the weight of the evidence and the relentless questioning, Mark eventually broke down. He confessed to being at Sarah's home, but insisted it was to deliver a package. He claimed that an argument ensued when Sarah accused him of being overly familiar, which led to a physical confrontation. Mark admitted to pushing Sarah in a moment of anger, resulting in her fatal injury. His confession, while crucial, left some questions unanswered, prompting further investigation. Lastly, Todd, the tech-savvy acquaintance, was interrogated about his unusual interest in Sarah's FitBit and the suspicious interactions recorded between their devices. Detectives presented the communication logs and the motive they had uncovered. Todd's nervousness was evident, and his initial denial gave way to a more defensive stance. When the detectives revealed they knew about his unreciprocated infatuation with Sarah and his access to her devices, Todd's composure crumbled. He confessed to being obsessed with Sarah, monitoring her movements through the FitBit data he had secretly accessed. Todd admitted to being present on the night of the murder, but claimed he had only intended to confront Sarah about their relationship. When detectives pressed him on the details, Todd described a heated argument that escalated, resulting in him accidentally causing Sarah's death during a struggle. Each confession and statement provided crucial pieces of the puzzle, painting a clearer picture of what transpired on that fateful night. The interrogations revealed a complex web of motives and interactions, with each suspect contributing to the tragic outcome. The detectives meticulously documented every detail, cross-referencing the confessions with the FitBit data and other evidence. This comprehensive approach ensured that every angle was covered and all possible scenarios were explored. The process of interrogating the new suspects brought to light the final moments of Sarah's life, ultimately leading the investigative team to a deeper understanding of the events that led to her untimely death. As the truths were unraveled, Sarah's family and the community inched closer to the justice they had long sought. Digital forensics played a crucial role in corroborating the FitBit data with other evidence. This advanced field of investigation involves the recovery and analysis of data from electronic devices, providing a trail of digital breadcrumbs that can be pieced together to form a comprehensive picture of events. In Sarah Johnson's case, digital forensics experts were brought in to meticulously comb through her electronic devices, including her smartphone, laptop, and home network. To start, the forensics team focused on Sarah's smartphone. By extracting data from her phone, they were able to cross-reference her call logs, messages, and app usage with the FitBit timeline. This helped establish a more precise timeline of her activities and interactions leading up to the night of her murder. They discovered a series of messages between Sarah and her co-worker Rachel, which revealed escalating tensions and threats. This digital evidence provided a motive that aligned with the suspicions raised by the FitBit data. Next, the forensic experts analyzed Sarah's laptop. They recovered deleted emails and browsing history that indicated Sarah had been researching restraining orders and self-defense classes. These findings suggested that Sarah felt threatened and was taking steps to protect herself, lending further credibility to the theory that her attacker was someone she knew. Additionally, the team found drafts of unsent emails addressed to her family, detailing her fears and naming individuals she felt were stalking her. This digital documentation painted a clearer picture of Sarah's state of mind and the potential risks she faced. The investigation also extended to Sarah's home network. Forensic analysis of her Wi-Fi router logs provided insights into the devices connected to her network on the night of the murder. This analysis revealed an unfamiliar device that had been connected briefly around the time of Sarah's death, corresponding with the interference previously noted in the FitBit data. Tracing the device led investigators to Todd, whose technical expertise and prior access to Sarah's devices made him a prime suspect. Todd's digital footprint, including his search history and device logs, corroborated his involvement and his obsession with Sarah. In parallel, the forensics team examined the digital traces left by Mark, the delivery driver, by subpoenaing his cell phone records and analyzing location data. They confirmed his presence in the vicinity of Sarah's home at the critical moment. Furthermore, they uncovered a series of incriminating text messages Mark had exchanged with a friend, in which he expressed frustration and resentment towards Sarah. This digital evidence was instrumental in corroborating Mark's eventual confession and establishing the sequence of events that led to the fatal confrontation. To ensure the integrity of the evidence, digital forensics experts employed rigorous methods, including the use of specialized software to recover and analyze data without altering its original state. They created detailed reports and timelines that integrated findings from multiple devices, providing a cohesive narrative that aligned with the information recorded by Sarah's FitBit. This holistic approach ensured that every piece of digital information was meticulously examined and verified, leaving no room for doubt. The integration of digital forensics with the FitBit data was pivotal in piecing together the final moments of Sarah's life and identifying her killers. The digital footprints left by the suspects, combined with the precise timeline provided by the FitBit, created an irrefutable body of evidence that brought clarity to the case. By leveraging the power of digital forensics, investigators were able to transcend traditional investigative limitations and achieve a level of detail and accuracy that ultimately led to justice for Sarah Johnson. The collaboration between the digital forensics team and the detectives exemplified how modern technology and meticulous investigative work can converge to solve even the most complex cases. The public reaction to the reopening of Sarah Johnson's case was nothing short of electrifying. News of the breakthrough evidence provided by her FitBit spread like wildfire, capturing the imagination of people far and wide. The role of the FitBit in solving a seemingly insurmountable mystery fascinated the public, igniting a wave of media coverage that brought the story to national attention. Headlines and breaking news segments highlighted the innovative use of technology in criminal investigations, with Sarah's case serving as a prime example of how modern devices could turn the tide in cold cases. Social media platforms buzzed with discussions, theories, and general amazement at how a fitness tracker had achieved what years of traditional detective work could not. Hashtags like #FitBitDetective and #JusticeForSarah trended for days as people from all walks of life weighed in on the case. The stark contrast between the simplicity of a Fitbit and its profound impact on the investigation sparked numerous debates, with pundits and tech enthusiasts alike praising the novel approach. Talk shows and podcasts dedicated special segments to discuss the implications of wearable technology in law enforcement. Experts in both fields weighed in, exploring how devices designed for personal health and fitness could serve as crucial pieces of evidence in criminal cases. Sarah's story became a catalyst for a broader conversation about privacy, security, and the unexpected ways technology integrates into our lives and the justice system. Public interest surged not only out of curiosity, but also a sense of empathy and justice for Sarah and her family. Community vigils and online memorials were organized, with many expressing hope that this newfound evidence would finally bring closure to a case that had haunted many for years. Sarah's family received an outpouring of support from strangers who felt a connection to her story. The emotional weight of the case, combined with the dramatic twist brought by the FitBit data, resonated deeply with people. Media outlets followed the story closely, providing updates on every new development. Investigative documentaries and in-depth news features chronicled the journey from confusion to clarity, highlighting the tireless efforts of Detective Monroe and her team. Interviews with forensic experts, law enforcement officials, and even FitBit representatives shed light on the intricate process of analyzing digital evidence and the unprecedented collaboration between technology and traditional investigative methods. The case also prompted discussions about the potential for similar devices to solve other cold cases, with many advocating for law enforcement agencies to integrate more advanced technological tools into their investigations. The public's fascination and support provided a renewed sense of urgency and determination for the detectives working on Sarah's case. The collective hope and anticipation for justice created a powerful momentum that propelled the investigation forward. As the story continued to unfold, it became clear that Sarah Johnson's case was not just about solving a crime. It was about the intersection of humanity and technology, and how, together, they could illuminate the darkest of mysteries and pave the way for justice. The legal proceedings began swiftly once the new evidence from Sarah Johnson's FitBit came to light, marking a significant turn in the quest for justice. Sarah's case, long dormant, was thrust into the spotlight, and the renewed investigation catalyzed a series of legal actions. The first step was the formal reopening of the case by the district attorney, who acknowledged the compelling nature of the FitBit data and its potential to secure convictions against the newly identified suspects. With the digital evidence providing a precise timeline and corroborating other findings, the district attorney moved to issue arrest warrants for Rachel, Mark, and Todd, all of whom were now under intense scrutiny. As public interest soared, the legal process was set in motion. The suspects were swiftly apprehended and brought before the court for their arraignment hearings. During these hearings, the prosecution presented a preliminary outline of the evidence against each suspect, emphasizing the pivotal role that the FitBit data played in piecing together the events of that tragic night. The digital evidence was supported by forensic analysis, witness testimonies, and the inconsistencies in the suspects' alibis. The court deemed the evidence substantial enough to proceed to trial, setting the stage for a high-profile legal battle. Pretrial motions followed, where defense attorneys sought to challenge the admissibility of the FitBit data and other digital evidence. They argued potential issues related to data privacy and questioned the accuracy of the technology used. However, the prosecution countered with expert testimonies from digital forensic analysts who validated the reliability and precision of the data. The court ruled in favor of the prosecution, allowing the FitBit evidence to be included in the trial. The trial began with a jury selection process, keenly observed by the media and the public. Once the jury was impaneled, opening statements were made by both the prosecution and the defense. The prosecution laid out a compelling narrative, detailing how the FitBit data provided an airtight timeline of Sarah's final moments, connected with the physical and forensic evidence. Each suspect's motive and opportunity were meticulously outlined, painting a picture of a tragic convergence of circumstances leading to Sarah's death. The defense, in contrast, attempted to cast doubt on the interpretation of the data, focusing on the potential for technological errors and questioning the credibility of the witnesses. As the trial progressed, expert witnesses in digital forensics took the stand, explaining the intricacies of the FitBit data in layman's terms. They demonstrated how the heart rate spikes and step counts corresponded to the physical struggle and ultimate cessation of Sarah's life. These testimonies were crucial in helping the jury understand the impartial and precise nature of the digital evidence. Additionally, emotional testimonies from Sarah's family and friends provided a human face to the data, highlighting the profound impact of her loss on those who loved her. The prosecution also presented surveillance footage, travel records, and communication logs that further implicated the suspects. Rachel's denied travel records, Mark's suspicious delivery route deviations, and Todd's obsessive messages all bolstered the case against them. Each piece of evidence was meticulously cross-referenced with the FitBit data, creating an irrefutable timeline of events. Closing arguments saw the prosecution emphasizing the comprehensive nature of the evidence and the necessity of justice for Sarah and her family. The defense continued to argue for reasonable doubt, but the weight of the digital and forensic evidence proved overwhelming. After careful deliberation, the jury returned with their verdicts. Rachel, Mark, and Todd were found guilty of their respective roles in Sarah Johnson's death. The sentencing phase delivered a sense of closure to Sarah's family and underscored the pivotal role that modern technology played in solving the case. The trial's outcome was a landmark moment in legal history, highlighting the transformative impact of digital evidence in criminal investigations. Sarah Johnson's FitBit, once a simple health tracker, had become a key witness, its data bringing clarity and justice years after her tragic death. The legal proceedings not only secured convictions, but also set a precedent for how wearable technology could aid in the pursuit of truth and justice in future cases. The trial commenced with an air of anticipation, as both the prosecution and defense prepared to lay out their cases in front of a captivated jury and public. The prosecutor began with a detailed opening statement, emphasizing the groundbreaking nature of the FitBit evidence that had breathed new life into this cold case. The jury listened intently as the prosecution recounted the timeline extracted from Sarah Johnson's FitBit, explaining how the device had recorded every crucial moment leading up to her untimely death. The first key testimony came from Detective Monroe, whose discovery of the FitBit data had catalyzed the reopening of the investigation. Monroe recounted her meticulous analysis of the data, illustrating how Sarah's heart rate spikes and step counts painted a vivid picture of the struggle that occurred on the night of her murder. The courtroom was silent as she described how the FitBit data had pinpointed the exact time of Sarah's death, a timeline that aligned perfectly with other pieces of evidence. Next, the prosecution brought in digital forensics experts who had worked on the case. These experts took the stand to explain the technical aspects of the FitBit data to the jury. Using clear, straightforward language, they detailed how the heart rate and step count data corresponded with the physical evidence found at the crime scene. They described the unique patterns in Sarah's heart rate, highlighting the sudden spike that indicated a moment of extreme stress or physical exertion, followed by a sharp decline, signifying the tragic end of her life. The experts also discussed how the step count data showed a frantic movement through the living room, corroborating the signs of a struggle found by the initial investigators. To further substantiate the FitBit evidence, the prosecution called on Sarah's family and friends. Their emotional testimonies provided context to Sarah's life and her routines, corroborating the Fitbit's data that showed her likely at home and relaxed before the attack. These personal accounts humanize the digital data, bridging the gap between the cold, hard facts and the tragic reality of Sarah's last moments. The defense, on the other hand, sought to discredit the technological evidence. They argued that the Fitbit data could be misinterpreted or flawed, casting doubt on the accuracy of the heart rate and step count readings. They questioned the digital forensics experts rigorously, attempting to find inconsistencies in their analysis. However, the experts remained steadfast, explaining the robustness of the data and the precision with which it had been analyzed. Further testimonies from co-workers and neighbors painted a broader picture of the suspect's possible motives and opportunities. Rachel's previous conflict with Sarah, Mark's suspicious delivery route deviations, and Todd's obsessive behavior were all laid bare in the courtroom. The prosecution presented travel records, surveillance footage, and communication logs that contradicted the suspect's alibis. Each piece of evidence meticulously cross-referenced with the Fitbit data to build an irrefutable case. Closing arguments saw the prosecution reiterating the comprehensive nature of the evidence against the suspects. They highlighted how Sarah's Fitbit had not only recorded her physical activity, but also provided a precise, impartial timeline that, when combined with the other evidence, left no room for doubt about the suspect's involvement. The defense continued to argue for reasonable doubt, but the weight of the digital and forensic evidence proved overwhelming. The jury deliberated carefully, considering the mountain of evidence presented over the course of the trial. After several hours, they returned with their verdicts. Rachel, Mark, and Todd were found guilty of their respective roles in Sarah Johnson's death, bringing a sense of closure to her family and the community. The trial not only secured justice for Sarah, but also set a precedent for the use of wearable technology in criminal investigations. The Fitbit had transformed from a simple fitness tracker into a pivotal piece of evidence, its data providing clarity and truth in a case that had once seemed insurmountable. This landmark trial demonstrated the profound impact that modern technology can have in the pursuit of justice, offering new hope for solving cold cases and bringing closure to grieving families. The verdict was finally announced, a culmination of months of painstakingly detailed investigation and expert testimonies. The Fitbit evidence had played an undeniably crucial role, weaving together a coherent narrative from seemingly disparate pieces of data. As the judge read the final decision, the courtroom was steeped in tension, anticipation hanging thick in the air. Rachel, Mark, and Todd stood solemnly, awaiting the outcome that would determine their fate. The jury found all three defendants guilty of their respective roles in Sarah Johnson's death. The Fitbit evidence had been the linchpin, providing an irrefutable timeline that matched perfectly with the physical and forensic evidence. The heart rate spikes and step counts had narrated Sarah's last moments, presenting a clear picture of the struggle and the exact time of her tragic end. This digital testimony, combined with the suspect's conflicting alibis and additional forensic findings, left no room for reasonable doubt. The impact of the FitBit data on the judgment was profound. The prosecution had used this technological witness to construct a precise, minute-by-minute account of the events leading to Sarah's death. The sudden heart rate surge, the frantic movement captured by the step count, and the eventual abrupt halt had painted a vivid and undeniable picture of a violent struggle. These digital breadcrumbs guided the jury through the chaotic night, leading them to a unanimous decision. In delivering the sentences, the judge acknowledged the transformative role of the FitBit evidence. He commended the investigative team for their innovative approach and praised the meticulous analysis that had brought clarity to a once unsolvable case. Rachel received a substantial prison sentence for her direct involvement and unprovoked aggression, fueled by workplace animosity. Mark was sentenced for his violent confrontation with Sarah, catalyzed by his mounting resentment and inappropriate advances. Todd, whose obsessive behavior had played a part in the tragedy, faced his own punitive measures for his indirect but significant involvement. The sentences reflected the severity of their actions and the suffering they had caused Sarah and her family. As Sarah's family listened to the verdict, a sense of long-awaited justice washed over them. The FitBit, once a simple fitness accessory, had become a silent witness, recording the crucial moments that led to the truth. The trial's outcome not only secured justice for Sarah, but also highlighted the pivotal role of wearable technology in modern investigations. The precedent set by this case underscored the potential of digital evidence in solving other cold cases, offering hope to countless families still seeking closure. The courtroom had been a theater where technology and justice converged, revealing how modern advancements could illuminate the darkest corners of human experience. As the defendants were led away, the collective sigh of relief from Sarah's loved ones marked the end of a long, arduous journey. Justice had finally been served, thanks to the indisputable truth recorded by a FitBit tracker, forever changing the landscape of criminal investigations. Reflecting on the case, the significance of solving a 7-year-old cold case using modern technology cannot be overstated. This breakthrough underscores how advancements in tech, particularly wearable devices like Fitbits, are revolutionizing the field of law enforcement. Traditionally, cold cases languish due to a lack of fresh leads or evidence, but the introduction of digital forensics and the data recorded by everyday gadgets has opened new avenues for investigation, breathing new life into cases that seem destined to remain unsolved. The FitBit data in Sarah Johnson's case provided an unbiased, precise timeline that was pivotal in piecing together the sequence of events leading to her tragic death. The heart rate spikes and step counts captured by her FitBit offered a silent witness narrative, detailing moments of struggle that human memory might fail to recall or eyewitnesses might misinterpret. This impartial digital evidence played a crucial role in challenging alibis, uncovering new suspects, and ultimately securing convictions. The broader implications for law enforcement are profound. Modern technology equips detectives with tools that were unimaginable a few decades ago, allowing for a more comprehensive approach to criminal investigations. Devices like Fitbits, smartphones, and even home security systems can provide critical pieces of evidence, enabling investigators to construct accurate timelines, track movements, and establish the context of a crime. As wearable technology becomes increasingly integrated into daily life, its potential as a resource for solving crimes grows. Law enforcement agencies are now more aware of the invaluable data these devices can hold, leading to more collaborative efforts with tech companies to access and analyze this information when necessary. This shift towards embracing digital evidence also highlights the importance of digital literacy among investigators, who must stay abreast of technological advancements to effectively utilize these tools. Moreover, the successful resolution of Sarah Johnson's case sets a precedent for the admissibility and reliability of digital evidence in court. It signals to the judicial system and the public that data from wearable devices, when meticulously analyzed and corroborated, can stand up to scrutiny and form the cornerstone of a prosecution's case. This not only bolsters the credibility of digital forensics, but also encourages broader acceptance and trust in using technology to pursue justice. However, the integration of technology in crime solving also raises important discussions about privacy and ethics. While the potential to solve crimes using digital evidence is immense, it must be balanced with respecting individuals' privacy rights and ensuring that data is accessed and used responsibly. Establishing clear guidelines and protocols for handling digital evidence will be crucial in maintaining this balance. The case of Sarah Johnson exemplifies the transformative power of modern technology in solving crimes. It serves as a beacon of hope for families waiting for closure, showing that even when traditional methods fall short, technology can provide new leads and opportunities for justice. As law enforcement continues to evolve, the lessons learned from this case will pave the way for integrating technological advancements into standard investigative practices, ultimately making our society safer and more just. Other cases solved by technology demonstrate how advancements in modern tech have revolutionized criminal investigations. One notable case is the Golden State Killer, who was identified in 2018 using genetic genealogy databases. Investigators uploaded DNA from crime scenes to public genealogical websites, eventually tracing it to Joseph James DeAngelo, a former police officer responsible for a series of brutal crimes in the 1970s and 1980s. This innovative use of DNA technology not only solved a decades-old mystery, but also highlighted the potential of genetic databases in criminal investigations. Another striking instance is the Delphi murders of 2017, where two young girls were tragically killed in Indiana. The case saw a breakthrough when investigators utilized mobile phone data to track suspects. The girls had captured a recording of their suspected attacker on a mobile phone, which became crucial evidence. This piece of digital data helped narrow down the list of suspects and bring new leads, illustrating the importance of mobile technology in solving crimes. In other cases, advanced forensic techniques like facial recognition software have been instrumental. For example, in 2011, facial recognition technology helped identify and apprehend a notorious fugitive, Whitey Bulger, who had been on the run for over 16 years. This technology scanned and analyzed facial features, matching them against a database of wanted individuals, ultimately leading to Bulger's capture. The role of GPS data in solving crimes is also noteworthy. In the disappearance of Kelsey Smith in 2007, her cell phone's GPS signal was used to locate her body. The police tracked her phone's coordinates, leading them to a wooded area where they found her, and this evidence pointed directly to the perpetrator. This case underscored the life-saving potential of GPS technology in emergency situations. The integration of social media and digital footprints has also proven effective in law enforcement. In the case of the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing, investigators analyzed thousands of hours of video footage and social media posts to identify the suspects, Tamerlan and Dijakatsani. This digital evidence was critical in apprehending the perpetrators and ensuring public safety. Such instances affirm the transformative impact of technology in criminal investigations. From genetic genealogy and mobile data to facial recognition and GPS, modern technology enhances the ability of law enforcement to solve even the most challenging cases. The advancements are not just tools, but game changers that bring justice and closure to victims and their families. In summary, the case of Sarah Johnson's tragic death was a haunting mystery that stumped investigators for 7 long years. Despite initial thorough investigations, no clear motive, suspect, or decisive evidence surfaced, leaving Sarah's family in anguish and the case cold. However, the breakthrough came in the most unexpected form: a FitBit tracker. This modest device, designed to monitor physical activity and health metrics, silently recorded the crucial moments leading up to Sarah's demise. Detective Lisa Monroe's tech-savvy approach to reviewing the case files brought the FitBit data into focus, revealing a precise timeline of Sarah's last moments. Heart rate spikes and step counts painted a vivid picture of a violent struggle, guiding the investigation to new suspects and revelations. The FitBit's data, corroborated by digital forensics and traditional investigative methods, played an undeniably vital role in securing convictions against Rachel, Mark, and Todd. This case underscored the transformative power of wearable technology in modern criminal investigations. As we look to the future, the potential for technological advancements in crime solving is immense. From genetic genealogy and mobile data to facial recognition and GPS, the integration of technology into law enforcement offers new hope for solving cold cases and bringing justice to victims and their families. The story of Sarah Johnson's case is a testament to how modern technology can illuminate even the darkest mysteries, paving the way for a safer and more just society. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey of mystery, technology, and justice. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more intriguing tales.